Good evening. Should Police Scotland stop investigating and recording non-crime hate incidents?
Thank you, Heather. The Met Police this week announced they will no longer investigate non-crime hate incidents to allow officers to focus on matters that do lead to a criminal investigation. Edward Mountain, should the same thing happen here in Scotland?
Well, it's always nice to see a policeman up in the Highlands. We don't see many of them. And it's nice for them to be able to investigate real crimes, crimes where there are victims, where they've had their houses broken into or damage to properties. So I think the way that this is being dealt with in Scotland has got totally out of hand. And the answer is simple as yes. Get on with doing what they should be doing on the beat, dealing with real crimes which affect people who are actually really struggling because their house has been broken into, their car's been stolen, and they just don't see a policeman. So, yes, I'd much rather get on and deal with those crimes.
So these are incidents where no criminal offence has been committed, but an individual feels that prejudice or hostility based on protected characteristics has led to something happening against them. Graham Downey, do we need in Scotland to follow the approach south of the border on this now?
I think at the risk of agreeing with Edward, I think the primary job of the police...
Nothing wrong with that.
It happens rarely, Edward. I think the first thing is that, again, the police in the communities, I think this is something that we'll all see in the communities when we go around and speak to constituents, is communities say, can you please stop a crime happening, first of all? We don't want a crime to be investigated. We don't want the crime happening in the first place. And one of the ways you do that is having good community police on the ground who know what's going on, who actually can say, well, we know the right people, we know where the problem spots might be. That's the type of thing you need police to do. And I think fundamentally, yeah, police should be out there and actually enforcing the law on the things which cause the most harm to individuals and to communities. That's not to say other laws don't matter, of course they do, and you've got to watch that you're not diminishing certain laws, but fundamentally, I think people in the communities want to see their house safe, their car safe, their community safe, and bring that level of policing back down to the community so you know someone who actually is there and looking after you. And the reassurance that that gives communities, just knowing that there is someone there. And again, I'm sure we've all dealt with these issues across Fife and elsewhere in Scotland, where people say, I just want to feel safe in my house. I just want to feel safe walking down the street. And that's got to be the primary goal of policing and the justice system.
Thank you. Jenny Gilruth?
We have really good community policing in Glenrothes, so our community police presence here is very strong. Many of you will know our community police officers. They're in and out of the town centre here regularly, they're in and out of our schools. And I feel in general that they're not prohibited from investigating, obviously, criminal activity, but also that should be a matter for the police to decide upon. They have operational independence from people like me, ministers, and I think that's right.
But if they're policing tweets, they're not out at the bus station stopping antisocial behaviour,
yeah, I hear the point, I hear the point. But actually, there's been extra investment that's gone to the area committee here in Fife to allow them to police the bus station where there have been incidents. So I don't necessarily accept that these things are not happening already. I think, in general, it's important that we support the police. And, of course, the justice system has had an uplift to the policing budget in recent years, and that's helped to support more community policing efforts.
Should police Scotland stop investigating non-crime hate incidents, though? The Met have decided to do that. Should we take the same approach here?
I think it's very difficult for ministers to look at that in isolation from the operational independence that our police officers have. So I trust our police officers to investigate crimes as they see fit. They, of course, have that independence from ministers, and I think that's the right approach we have in Scotland. We trust our police to do that.
Let me hear from the man on the end down there.
We've just spoke about early intervention. How do we stop these horrific tweets or whatever it is on social media from becoming a crime? Okay. If we're not going to investigate these things.
Okay. Fiona Campbell, what do you think about this?
I think ultimately the police should be investigating crimes. Now, where it's a prejudice-based crime, that can be incredibly subjective. If there's evidence of a crime, absolutely they should investigate it. But ultimately they should be investigating assaults, thefts, and all those material crimes that we all want to see out of our lives and off our streets.
Can they do both?
But the other thing is we need to stop giving them more jobs. For example, it is up to the police to enforce short-term licensing. For me, that is a waste of resource and a waste of their time when they could be doing something fundamentally beneficial and stopping crime.
Thank you. Man on the end of the row at the back. Yeah.
I think it's a bit unfair to say we should focus on real crime. because I myself have actually, over the last couple of months, I've suffered real racism on the street.
Yep.
So to now say, you know, police won't
But that is a
necessarily
real
focus on
crime.
that.
That is
But-
a real
That's a
crime.
crime.
That's crime.
But then that's coming from online down onto our real streets, right? And so if we're kind of talking about this, focusing on as we say, assault and these kind of things, does that not diminish the importance of these kind
Right,
of
so
things?
that's interesting. So that's a real hate crime, and I'm sorry you've been
Yeah.
on the end of that. But you think that that filters down from social media to the streets?
100%.
Okay.
And yeah, I think that actually also needs to be tackled, because the rhetoric right now in media is fueling these kind of divisions, and which we are seeing on the
Yeah.
street.
Thanks for raising that. James McEnany.
A rare moment of generosity, I'll say, I don't think it's what you meant when you were saying it, but I can see why you took the sort of comment that way of like, you know, we shouldn't worry about the sort of hate crime stuff and deal with real crime. I was kind of sitting thinking, I didn't think you'd meant that, but I was sitting thinking it might be an idea for, you know, a panel of 6 white people to accept that hate crimes are real crimes.
Yeah.
The other thing is, you know, the idea that, you know, we shouldn't be doing that because we need to maybe, you know, bring down the rates of, you know, housebreaking and burglary and car theft. They're all like a way down, aren't they? They're all like at lower levels than they've been historically. Like people on those stats, people are safe in their homes. But this thing about, you know, what the police, you know, doing far too much. I'm not so across the regulations for short-term lets. I do
She'll
know...
tell you later, don't worry.
Yes, I do know that, for example, like, let's say you have a loved one who has a, you know, massive mental health crisis. Who do you have to phone to go and
Yeah.
send the police after them? Is that who you'd want to see if that was you in that kind of situation? All that being said, however, the specific of this, which is the police recording and keeping records on things that the police say are not crimes, I don't think, even leaving all that, I don't think I'm hugely comfortable living in a country where the police see it as okay to keep records of things that are not police matters, that are not criminal offences. So on that particular point, no, I don't like the idea. I don't like the idea of the sort of mission creep that comes with that. But I would want to caveat it by saying I don't therefore buy into. I say I'm not. This isn't an accusation against you, but I don't want to buy into the sort of the way this is sometimes framed, which is that the police should be out dealing with real things and stop dealing, you know,
Right.
stop dealing with
Racism
racism, stop
is
dealing
a
with
real
transphobia and stuff like that.
We're out of
Absolutely
time.
real crime.
We're out of time this evening. Your views?